Përshëndetje të dashur nxënës, nga unë Shpendi Nebiu, arsimtari i gjuhës angleze në shkollën fillore Mehmet Deralla të fshatit Gradec. Sot kam nderin dhe kënaqësinë që para jush t'ua prezantoj një njësi mësimore që ka të bëjë me përdorimin dhe formimin e drejtë të foljes modale ndihmëse can, e cila ka disa përdorime, por ne sot do t'i diskutojmë vetëm dy prej tyre. Gjegjesisht përdorimin e saj në rast kur kemi nevojë të japim apo të marrim leje, si dhe përdorimi i dytë kur bisedojmë për aftësi. So, I just hope that you're having a great time. Today's lesson is about the use and formation of the modal verb can when used for ability and for permission. So, guys, I hope that at the end of the lesson you will be able to use and form properly the modal verb can, be able to talk about your own abilities, as well as be able to give and ask for permissions. So, let's talk about the use of can for ability. We use the modal verb can to express that we know how to do something. So we use this expression when we want to show that we are able to do something or somebody else is able to do something. Now let's look at some examples. So the first one, Spider-Man can fly. The second one, she can climb a tree. And the third one, they can dance. The second use of can for permission. We also use the modal verb can to give permission or to ask for permission. Now again, let's look at some examples about this part. It's too hot in here. Can I open the window, please? The second example, can I use your calculator, please? And the last example, can I have a drink of water, please? So we usually use these expressions in the classroom where students usually ask for permissions, whereas we teachers give permissions. Now, something very important, when we talk about grammatical structures, we will have to have in mind that we will have to follow some rules. So the first important rule that we have to follow when we use can is that we will have to be careful that can is an auxiliary verb and it does not take the s at the end. For example, we would say my brother can play the piano, but the incorrect form would be my brother can play the piano, so we will have to drop the s from can. The second very important rule when we use can is that we have to follow can with a main verb which is in infinitive but without to. For example, we say Peter can ride a bike, but we can't say Peter can to ride a bike. So to ride is the infinitive. We will have to drop the to. Now let's look at the use of can in affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences. So in the affirmative, we form the affirmative by subject plus can plus main verb. Usually main verbs are action verbs. So let's conjugate it. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they can play football. So can does not change in all persons. Now let's look at the negative. We form the negative by subject plus cannot plus main verb. And the contraction form of cannot is can't, as you can see here. And finally, we make the questions by changing the places of can and the subject. So if it is I can play football, it becomes can I play football? We should be careful with the intonation of the voice. And since can is an auxiliary verb, we must have a short answer. For instance, if the question is can they play football, we have two possible answers here. The first one is yes they can, and the second one is no they can't. And finally we are going to look at some examples when using can for ability. The first example, parrots can talk. The second example, kangaroos can jump. The third example, cheetahs can run very fast. Indeed, they are the fastest animals in the world. The next example is about the world champions, Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps can swim. Next, the dolphins can't run. Elephants can't jump. Can he climb the ladder? we will have to have a short answer because we have a question that starts with an auxiliary verb. Can he cook? No, he can't. Can they dance? Yes, they can. And now let's look at some examples when we use can for permission. Can I open the window, please? Can I sharpen my pencil, please? Can I go to the toilet, please? And finally, it's your turn now. What do we do now? We will do some practice. You will have to look at the flashcards, and in the first part you will make affirmative sentences by using these action verbs. So we have the action verbs jump, snap, touch, and again jump. Now let's look at the first one. Can you do the first one? I guess you can do it. So we will have to use the subject first. The subject is he. Then we will have to use can. He can. And finally we add the action verb jump. He can jump far. Let's look at it. So it is correct. You can try the rest, but I'm gonna do them for you because we don't have too much time. But what you can do is you can pause this video, try for yourselves, and after you finish you can check your answers. So the second one, he can snap his fingers. The third one, she can touch her toes. And the last one, she can jump high. Now let's practice by using can in negative statements or sentences. So we will have to look again at the flashcards and make these sentences negative. The first one, he can't play the drums. Of course, again, you can pause this video, try by yourselves, and finally you can check the answers if you're right or wrong. The second one, he can ride a skateboard. The third one, he can't play tennis. And the last one, she can't ride a scooter. And finally, the question form. Look at the flashcards and make questions by using these action verbs. So we have the action verbs surf, blow, swim, climb, etc., etc. So let's start doing this activity. So what about the first one? How do we make questions? By starting the sentence with can plus subject plus main verb. So can plus, in this case, the subject is he, and plus the main verb surf, without to, of course. So can he surf? Can they blow bubbles? Can they swim? And finally, can she climb a tree? And of course, if you want some extra work, you can visit these links where you can play an interactive game where you can practice the structures that we learned about the use and form of can. And of course, the last thing that you could do is watch a video where you could watch some of the main verbs that are usually used with the verb can. So I hope that you had a great time and you enjoyed this video, and thank you very much, and see you next time. Goodbye.